Welcome to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and today we're going to do another indie horror spotlight. I have the director of an upcoming film that's in pre-production right now, Steve Merlo. Steve, how you doing, my friend?
Very good. How are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. So you got a movie come out. It's called The Unseen. By the way, shout out to your producer, Alexi. She's amazing.
Yes, she is.
And Unseen, I mean, you got quite of a cast. I mean, yeah, Felissa Rose from Sleepaway Camp, you got Mike Ferguson, Brett Wagner, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Jamie Hill, who's a doll from Skinamarink. So tell us a little bit about Unseen.
Well, it's a very psychological film, and it's a film that really we want to immerse the audience right into the mind of the antagonist in this film. So it's really about kind of diving into this person's psyche and as he's getting delusional and all this terrible stuff is happening. And so the idea is to really hope that the audience can kind of feel his emotions as you watch him descend into darkness.
Yeah. So and have you picked a location for filming?
Yeah, we're going to be shooting in my town that I live in, Kelowna, British Columbia, and we've got a couple locations that we've locked down, but there's still a few locations that we're going to be trying to nail down here in pre-production.
Okay. Awesome. So what was some of your inspiration when writing?
Ooh, lots of inspiration. I take inspiration from so many things. Movie-wise, I would say the closest would be Black Christmas, the original from 1974. Because very psychological, and this is a killer that you never see. You never actually see him in the film. You just hear him talking like you did in that film. But it's a very, very different. These are two very different characters, but that part of it definitely is inspired by Black Christmas. There's bits of Halloween in there too, and some of those other 70s flicks that are kind of similar in that regards, where they're very atmospheric. But I draw inspirations from so many things. Some ideas came from my dreams. I always have weird dreams, and it's one of those things where I like to write them down and see if I can get something creative out of it. So dreams, there's a little bit of the story. It was kind of based on a song by the band Everclear. So, I mean, it's funny how you just can find ways to draw inspiration from different things, different things that happened in your life, so there was certain events that happened in my life that, you take a bit of inspiration from and put it into a movie.
Now, what are some struggles right now in 2023? Of course, we know about the strike, but as a indie horror movie maker or filmmaker, what are some struggles that you've noticed or you've ran into?
I mean, obviously, a few years ago, the pandemic was a struggle, and I guess, to a point, it still is. I know it was definitely a concern when I shot my last movie in Texas, because I'm Canadian. I had to go from Canada to Texas to shoot that movie, and it was just barely kind of starting to free up a little bit, and but we still had to have COVID tests and all that kind of stuff, and so it was loosening up, but at the same time, it was still. There are still restrictions, and I imagine there's still probably going to be some restrictions in that regard. But again, I am shooting in my hometown here in Canada, so that won't be as big of an issue, that's for sure. But casting is always kind of one of my things that I take very seriously. I always want to get the right cast attached to the film, because I know these characters like the back of my hand, and I know who's right for the roles, even the smaller ones. So, but there's always that chance that you might lose some cast members, especially since again, we're shooting in Canada, so a lot of these actors are coming from the U.S. to film in Canada. So that's a that's a big obstacle for us right now, and that's going to be probably our biggest expense. So, raising funds on our Indiegogo has done pretty well, but we're hoping to raise quite a bit more just to make sure we can cover that cost, because it's like 90% of our cast is coming from the U.S. So, yeah, a lot of struggles.
Except for Jamie, I know she's in. I think she's in
Alberta. Yeah, so Alberta. Jamie's in Alberta, and there's a 2 or 3 actors from Vancouver. There is one actress that lives in the same town as I am, Emily Mazes. She was in our teaser trailer and played 3 different roles in the teaser trailer, but only showed her face for one, and that's the role she's actually playing in the movie. But she was great at being the hand of this woman and being the shadow of this other person. And it was great. But the rest of the cast is from the U.S. other than like 4 or 5 of the cast that we have. So yeah, that's a big struggle, and a lot of our crew I think is coming from the U.S. as well. So our SFX artist definitely is, and I think we have an AD coming from the U.S. as well. So lots of people coming from the U.S. and plane tickets aren't cheap. No. Accommodations aren't cheap. Well, I can probably do okay saving on accommodations, but plane tickets aren't cheap. I'll just say that.
Now, when it comes to, as a filmmaker, you're doing an Indiegogo, how hard is it to get? I mean, you have a stacked cast, horror icons, especially in the indie scene. How hard is it, or how do you go by getting a Felissa Rose to star in your movie?
Well, it helps to know her a little bit first. It helps. I mean, a lot of the cast, I mean, I just happen to know through networking on Facebook, including Felissa and Brett. Brett was actually the first person to contact me saying, "Hey, I want to roll in your movie. I want to roll in your next movie. I love the Sawyer Massacre, so I want to be in your next movie." So I'm like, "Okay, I got to roll." Brett Wagner was he was very, very eager to jump on it, and it's just I mean, I did do a full casting call though, and I sat with the producers for a couple months before we were pretty set with the cast that we liked, and I tried to be as open-minded as possible. I didn't want to just be open to casting people from my local area because it's pretty limited here. So I said, I'm just going to cast from everywhere. I'm going to see where people come from, and if they're great, they're great. And we'll get the best bunch of actors we possibly can, and try not to focus too much on how much it's going to cost to fly them here.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, production it's not going to be cheap.
Oh no.
Now, production-wise, how many days or even weeks are you going to give yourself for production?
I would love to do like a whole month. But the thing you have to realize though is the longer you shoot, the more money it's costing to make it. So, I know with the Sawyer Massacre, we raised roughly $50,000 US dollars to make that movie through Indiegogo, and but that's not what you get to make the movie for, because you got Indiegogo fees and you got perks you got to distribute and money for the premiere and all this stuff. So there's a lot of the money went to that stuff. So we all in all, as far as spending on the movie, we had $30,000 for production and an extra $5,000 for post production, and still we only got to shoot for 9 days. That's all that amount of money could really afford, because it's so expensive to do it, because you got to pay everybody, and there's equipment rentals, and there's the SFX are expensive. So for that movie, we had roughly $35,000 and we shot in 9 days. This movie, man, it would be nice to film it. It would be nice to have at least a few weeks, at least a good 15 to 20 days would be nice. And I think the biggest value you're going to get out of that is that you're going to get better performances from your actors, and you're going to get a better shot composition. You're gonna, really be able to take your time setting up the shots, getting the lighting just right. So shooting in 9 days, it was like everybody's got to nail it on the first take. One
Yeah.
or two takes is all you get. Tough to do.
I can imagine it's tough to do. Yeah. Now, are you planning on shooting this throughout the winter, or are you gonna wait?
No, we're gonna save production until at least March,
Okay.
April, or May. So I'm aiming for some time in that time frame, and we'll see what is going to work best with the whole cast and crew, and just see it. But yeah, spring is going to be best because I don't want to be filming in the snow, and it doesn't get too cold where I live here in I'm in Western Canada, so it's not too bad here. But still, you don't want to be filming in January here. It's still pretty cold,
Especially if you're outdoors too. Yeah.
Yeah. About half of this, it's shot outdoors, so
Yeah.
yeah.
So what's the gore level that we're gonna expect?
That's a tough one. I don't think it'll be too. Excuse me. I don't think it'll be too heavy. But you never know. Again, this is more like a 70s atmospheric type of slasher film, so it's not like an 80s slasher film where they got a lot very over top with the practical effects. But we do have one of the best special effects artists in the indie scene right now with Tom Smith from Sick and Twisted Effects, who did Valentine Bluffs and did an amazing job with that film, and the effects were great. So you just never know. I'm definitely open to it. There's definitely a few things in the script that could use some gore, but they're pretty open ended. Where I think that a lot of the kills are kind of like they could be gory or they don't have to be gory. So we'll see where it goes. We'll see
what Tom's vision is. Yes,
a little bit. I'm going to give him a little bit of freedom, that's for sure. But it's definitely not going to be. It's definitely not going to be a gore film. It's not going to be like really gory and blood guts everywhere. If people are expecting that kind of film, they're not going to get it. They didn't get it from the Sawyer Massacre. They're not going to get it from this film. Although a lot of people think that the Sawyer Massacre was pretty gory, but I thought we were pretty tame on it myself.
So what's one thing that you've learned from the Sawyer Massacre to coming over to the Unseen that you were, after you completed production of the Sawyer Massacre, you were like, you know what, my next movie, I'm going to do it a little different, or I'm not going to make that mistake, or I'm going to swerve it around this way?
Oh boy, where do I start? Don't in pre-production, don't try to do all your location scouting through Google Maps. But I didn't really have a choice there because I was in Canada,
Yeah.
And that was really tough. I think if there's one disadvantage I really had by shooting in Texas, it was simply the fact that I couldn't see my locations ahead of time, and I was kind of going off of one or two pictures of the locations I had, and that was it. And I had to say, okay, this looks pretty good. And then you get there in person, and it's like, oh, wait a sec here, this totally doesn't match the script. And it's amazing. It was amazing how we came together though, and we made the correct changes to the script to apply to the locations we had, because that was not easy. There were some massive changes that we had to kind of change the order of how things went in some of the early parts of that movie, and it confused the actors quite a bit. But they got it once they understood why we had to change it, because of the locations, of course. They just weren't matching what we had in the script. So I would say, that's probably the thing I have to make sure I know the locations in and out before I even make my shot list.
Okay.
Yeah, because I made I spent Sawyer Massacre, and really I maybe got like 3 or 4 of the shots of the entire shot list. Like it was, days worth of shot lists, and I only got like 4 shots that were on the entire list exactly how I saw them. and that's not many. I would have liked to have gotten a lot more than that. We had to improvise though, because the locations just were not as what was visioned in the script. It causes problems.
So definitely don't rely on Google.
Yeah, it was not easy.
What's some advice? So there's a lot of new filmmakers who watch my channel out there. What's one nugget you could give to them if they're just starting off? They're about
A lot of new
thinking about
filmmakers.
making their first film.
I would say, if you're thinking about making your first film, don't be afraid of making mistakes, because it's going to happen no matter what. So I think that some new filmmakers have a hard time really getting their first film made because they're so afraid of making those mistakes. And I mean, the chances of your first film being a hit right off the bat, whether it be a short or a feature, it's pretty much slim to none. So I mean, it would have to be a fluke if that was the case. So don't be afraid to make those mistakes. Do try to learn as much as you can, but at the same time, just go out and do the best you can with what you got, and don't be afraid. Don't expect a masterpiece on your first film. Just make a film. Just make a film.
I agree. Just be simple on that, and just take that jump out, like you said, and just do it. I mean,
yeah.
And
you know what? You'll learn more from doing that than you will from any YouTube tutorial. Learn from actually getting that hands-on experience, and not just your own film, but volunteer on somebody else's film as well. That hands-on experience is so valuable.
I mean, even like I've said many times on my YouTube channel, like I've been doing this for 6 months now, and I've been thinking about doing it for years, and then I just jumped into it, and I didn't do any YouTube tutorials. Maybe I should have, I don't know, but like I look back at my first couple of videos, and I'm like, whoa, because I figured out all my own editing. I just toss it out there. I just tried it, and yeah, so sometimes we had to do it, and then over time, I just learned. Okay, let me do it this way better, because your first whatever is not going to be great.
Exactly, it's trial and error,
Mm-hmm.
and the first time you do it, it might seem like a daunting task, and it takes you forever to finally get it finished and put out there. But and you think, oh boy, and you probably think, boy, I'll never do that again. It was so hard to do. But then
terrifying.
You try it again, and it's like it's easier because you learned so much the first time without even realizing it. So it's like, okay, now you know not to do this. Don't do that, and do this instead, and it comes out better. It comes out easier, and you really release your product that much faster, and it's probably that much better too at the same time, just because you learn.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. Jumping into the water, both feet sometime. All right, Steve. So we're gonna do something fun. So this is a horror channel, so I'm gonna ask you 3 horror questions. Okay.
Okay.
3 questions. Who is your least favorite iconic horror character?
Oh boy, I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this probably, but I'd have to say Jason. Well, Jason or Ghostface, those two are kind of. I don't know. I'd have to say Jason still. I don't know.
He's not my least favorite, but I see where you're going with Jason. I'm not. Yeah.
I guess I just don't quite. I don't know. I don't see what the hype is really. I liked Jason more as the sackhead than the hockey mask, personally. But
yeah,
everybody loves the hockey mask.
One of the reasons I don't like Jason is because there's been so many actors who play Jason. I think that's for Michael Myers too, I guess. But like, it's just each Jason is a different Jason.
Yeah.
Each actor, so like, there's no common bond. I mean, I'm not a Friday 13th fan. He's iconic.
I don't mind it. I don't mind I don't know. They all kind of feel the same after a while to me.
Number 2, what is the worst movie? Okay, what is a movie that people love that you are like, I don't see it? Horror movie.
I don't know if this quite falls into that, but I mean, I've seen a lot of love for this movie. I saw it last year because it was suggested by a lot of people on my YouTube channel. I was asking for new suggestions to watch, movies I haven't seen before, and this one was suggested, and I haven't yelled at the screen so much in a very, very, very long time, and that was The Strangers Pray at Night.
Oh,
I
this
had
is
seen
cool.
first Strangers movie, and I didn't mind the first Stranger. I didn't find it like overly great, but there was some suspense there. I thought, okay, good, we got some suspense, and it seemed like these strangers were always in control, and so I liked that aspect about the first Strangers. So I was open to watching Strangers Pray at Night, but it's so hard to. It was really hard for me to get behind any characters in that movie, the good or the bad, because it seemed like every character in the movie made the stupidest decisions ever, good or bad. Just the strangers seem like completely different strangers. They seem very sloppy in their method, and I don't know. Just, I kept hearing from people, oh, there's a callback to 80s slasher films. I'm like, I didn't really see that though. I don't know I didn't see what other people saw as far as callback to 80s slasher films. Maybe it was the soundtrack, because there was a lot of 80s songs playing in that movie. Maybe that's it.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I that part where the dude's got the holding the gun right to right at the stranger girl there, I think it was the young girl, and he didn't shoot her. This person that tried to kill, who did kill her mother, who probably killed her father, and is trying to kill his sister. You got a gun to her head, and you didn't pull the trigger, knowing this stuff, knowing that this person probably killed your mom. I would be going in there guns ablaze, and that's all I would say. I would empty before she would have known it. But I was screaming at the screen like crazy when that scene came in. But yeah, I just I want some characters I can root for, and
Yeah.
I didn't have any in that movie. So
The crazy thing about it,
sorry, fans of that movie.
I never saw the original Strangers. Even though I just did a location tour video a couple months on Strangers in Florence, South
Oh,
Carolina.
really?
I've never seen the original Strangers. I saw the one you're talking about, Pray at Night. And the only reason I saw that one, it's a embarrassing story. This was a couple years back. I had a work function and alcohol was being served, and I'm a lightweight. And I'm 6'4" and I'm 215 pounds. I'm the biggest lightweight. And I was
Oh,
shit
really?
faced off of like 2 margaritas. And it was a good half an hour drive home. I was like, I can't get behind the wheel. And so there was a movie theater nearby, and I went to see Strangers Pray at Night or whatever it was. I didn't even know what it was. I was like, this is hard movie. I'll go see it. I actually liked it, but I'd never seen it
Really?
since. So maybe it was because I was drunk or something. I don't know. I actually enjoyed it.
That's funny. I really didn't like it. I really just I wanted to like it, but I really didn't.
All right.
That was the biggest disappointment in the last 10 years, at least for horror films for me, anyways.
Halloween Ends was mine, unfortunately.
Yeah, actually, I mean, there was potential in that movie.
It was.
I just saw that one pretty recently too. But man, did they drop the ball? Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
that was.
it was bad. They
Yeah.
could have been good though. I liked the idea they went with, but how it was executed was really bad.
Horrible.
Really
Horrible. Yes, because it could have went a completely different way where it would have made sense and it would have been great. Oh wow. Michael Myers is transforming his whatever to this new guy. That's where I thought they were going with that. But no, it was something awful. The last question. What iconic horror series do you wish they would stop making movies? Just be done.
Oh, all of them. To be, I don't know. It's yeah. I mean, It's a tough one. I mean, I guess you could say Halloween because I mean they pretty much have stopped making Friday the 13th films. Um, yeah, I mean, the thing about Halloween is, I mean, if if they do go in the original route that was intended way back, but of course people hated Halloween 3,
Mhm.
um, and do that do it just anthology and just forget about Michael Myers. He's been done to death, you know. Then there's still
Yeah.
something there. But if we keep making Michael Myers movies, you know, the thing that disappoints me the most about the David Gordon Green series is the fact that they had the best person to play Michael Myers since the original film,
Yes,
and
Michael Myers, 100%.
they just the directing and stuff like and the writing was just so, you know, I don't know. I wish that they were written better and directed better, and you know, given me some of that suspense that was in the original film, because you have so much potential when you've actually got a good actor playing the shape, playing Michael Myers.
James Jude Courtney was
He
amazing.
was amazing, and you know they're watchable simply because of him.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the most watchable thing about those movies, because the movies themselves just to me really aren't that good. I mean, Halloween Kills has a lot of kills in it. It has a lot of kills in it, hence the name Halloween Kills. But I just don't get any of that atmosphere. Not maybe a little bit, but not much. And you know, Halloween Ends had no atmosphere whatsoever. They like that was completely
It was a love
void.
story. It,
Yeah,
it it was a love story out of nowhere. I'm like, what the hell am I watching? But Halloween
yeah,
Kills, there was a big chunk of that movie. I'm gonna say about 30, 35 minutes in the movie that was completely unwatchable. And it all centered around that hospital.
yeah,
It was unwatchable. I mean, the second time around watching it, it's like, ooh, let me fast forward to where
yeah, exactly.
the gay couple is about to get murdered in his house. You know, like you fast forward that part about in the hospital because it's unbearable to watch.
Exactly. Yeah, I totally agree. It was a tough watch, but I've only seen it once. I saw it
I
in
only seen
theaters,
it once.
and
I'm only gonna see it once. Yeah.
yeah, after and you know, I know that those movies have their fans, and I would probably still say they're probably better in my opinion than the Rob Zombie movies, only because James Jude Courtney was a star.
A menace.
If James Jude Courtney wasn't a star in those films, they might be worse than the Rob Zombie movies, in my opinion.
100%.
Um, yeah, but you know, every film in that series has their fans, but it just did feel like they should have maybe called it a day after Halloween 4, in my opinion. There just hasn't been another film in the series to me that has really lived up to at least that one. So yeah, but again, there's a lot of people out there that love H2O. It didn't work for me.
I like the
There's some things about H2O that I do like, but for the most part, it doesn't work for me. What were you gonna say?
I would say I actually like Curse of Michael Myers, and people hate that.
I'm back and forth on it. I don't know. There's certain things I really like about it, and certain things I don't like about it. But I don't know. And that is definitely a very divisive one. But yeah, to me, it was done after 4. You know, I mean, if they would have had the balls to do a sequel to Halloween 4 that actually, you know, went the route that ending implied,
Mm-hmm.
uh, that would have been something. But no, we had to
Yeah.
just get right back to Michael Myers again. We couldn't have. I don't know.
Yeah. It'll have
It's
to be
all opinion at the end of the day, and you know, there's definitely going to be a lot of people that don't like my opinions on the Halloween series, but you know what? Still, as far as movie series go, franchises in horror, I still think because of those first 4 films that it's probably the best horror franchise out there,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion, because you got 4 solid films, in my opinion. I know
It
a lot of
really
people don't
does.
like Halloween 3, but I love Halloween 3.
I like Halloween 3 also.
Yeah, but a lot of people hate it. It's still that movie, and it used to be the most hated. Halloween film, but a lot of people have come around to it now, knowing what Carpenter's original vision was, that these were supposed to be movies about Halloween, not about a Michael Myers, about a serial killer, not just specifically a serial killer that happens to take place on Halloween. And that's where it's kind of been done to death now. It's just, what does Halloween actually really have to do with these movies anymore? They just take place on Halloween, and that's fine for the first film. It's fine for the first two, I guess, because it's a continuation of the same night. But you gotta get a little bit more original after a while. So that's probably the one thing I don't like about Halloween 4 is it's just kind of repeating that same kind of thing from the original, right? But I still like Halloween 4 because it does build some good suspense.
It's probably
At
the one of the best series besides the original.
Yeah, exactly. It has a lot of suspense and it still has a lot of kills in it. So that's something you don't typically get from you don't typically get too many horror films that are really suspenseful and have a ton of kills in them at the same time. So I give props to Halloween 4 for that.
I agree.
And a great ending.
And the one I wish they would kill, and there's one coming out, I think in a couple of weeks, Saw. I can't stand the Saw series. Like after the first, after the first, maybe the second one, it should have been done. And I think there's Saw 10 now, and I'm like,
cool. I really like the first one. I'll just say that I really like the first one.
The first two.
It's been a long time since I've seen the second one, so I have to give that one a rewatch. And I saw the third one. I was like, okay, well, they killed him off in the third one, so hey, why isn't that where it ends? Okay, so I could see that being 3 movies because they killed him off in the third one. But then after that, I checked out after that. I felt like, well, he's dead now, so what's the point? I guess in the fourth one he came back or he's doing it from the grave. He's already planned. I don't know.
I got excited.
These have a shelf life. They really do. So I can definitely agree with you on that. Saw 10. Well, there's like 10 Halloween movies now, but they keep changing the continuity in the Halloween and same with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
It's different.
They keep doing that because they don't have anything new to bring. They don't have anywhere new to go. So why not retcon this one, but we won't retcon that one, and then we'll create a whole new offshoot.
Whole spin off it. And
that's why they've done what they've done.
And I don't know if I guess it's considered horror, the whole Predator series. Like, it's that whole wash, make a movie and then wash it. And it's like never happened. And I wish they would just have like what Aliens have done. All the Aliens movie, they are one big package. Like, you watch Predator movies, none of them are based off the other one, or they try to all redo and be the sequel to the original.
Yeah.
No, but I was gonna say the last Saw movie, which was called Spiral, that was I forgot what year that was. That was the biggest letdown because I was like, oh, Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson, this has to be good. Oh, it was bad.
it was bad. Yeah. I didn't see it, so
Yeah. You didn't miss anything.
There you go.
Well, Steve, how can everyone find you, my friend?
Oh, I'm pretty active on the socials, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube Films, Sequanda Films on YouTube. On Facebook, my name's Steve Merlo, and Instagram, you can follow Unseen at _unseen.movie. What else? I am on Twitter, but I'm hardly ever on Twitter. So those are really the ones to follow me on.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you for coming on, and thank your producer, Alexi, for scheduling this. It's been a blast, and I'm looking forward to hear more about the Unseen. Hopefully release it next year, correct?
That's the goal, to hopefully be able to release it by, Halloween-ish time next year. We'll see. You never know. Post-production could take a while.
Well, I would like to have you back on once we get a release date. And I've seen it. That'd be amazing. And everyone, please support and look out for the Unseen. Steve. I mean, we've got Sawyer. What was it called? Sawyer House?
The Sawyer Massacre.
The Sawyer Massacre. Check that out on YouTube right now. You can watch that on YouTube and a couple other streaming services. So definitely check that out. Support. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for coming to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce. See you guys next time. Take care.
See ya.